Happy New Year and welcome to my YouTube channel. So this year I thought I would start the year doing a quick sort of journal with me in my junk journal. So I decided to take part in the Meg Journal's Junk Journal January, which is real great inspiration and motivation for me to use my junk journal. I don't think I've actually used my junk journal much since the Junk Journal July challenge. So this is a great excuse to get a junk journal out and start creating. So this is a junk journal that I have made myself. It's one of the junk journals in the Nick the Booksmith courses over on Teachable. It uses a very hard back cover. It uses quite a traditional binding and creates this lovely hollow back binding, if you like. So when you look through the end, you've got that hollow thing like a traditional book. And of course, all the inside pages are a combination of vintage papers, book pages, music papers. Some are journal kit pages, and then I've also done a little bit of decorating when I created the journal by making some pockets and adding a few bits of ephemera onto that. So I thought I would start the year and the challenge using this new, old journal. And I'll just show you what I've done for the year so far. So we're 3 days into the Junk Journal Challenge. So these are my first 2 pages. So the first day of the challenge the prompt was New Beginnings. And for each day, Meg provides a prompt to inspire your junk journaling. Okay, so I've decided for this challenge to combine 2 challenges. One is the Junk Journal January prompts, and the second one is Helen from Journal with Purpose. She provides her Patreon members with a monthly creative challenge, monthly sort of journaling challenge, if you like. And this month she provided a whole sheet of prompts, which we cut up and folded and I've put in this little jar. And the idea is to pick out 3 of these prompts every month and use those to inspire your page. So I'm combining the 2. So I take 3 out of here, use the other prompt from Junk Journal January, and create a page around the 4 prompts, if you like. So for the 1st of January, this page, Junk Journal January was the New Beginnings was the prompt. So I loved using the butterflies because for me that signifies change and a new beginning. So I brought the butterfly theme into it, and there's a few butterfly things going on here. And then I found this lovely quote as well from the Tim Holtz word snippets sheets, which says, "There is nothing like a dream to create the future." So I thought that was quite appropriate for the page. So that was essentially my Junk Journal January prompts used. And then the 3 prompts that I picked from the jar for this day was craft paper, squares, and washi tape. So I had to use those 3 things in this page as well. So actually the back layer of the collage here is some old craft packaging paper actually, which I used for the backing. So that was the craft paper. Then the squares, I basically built up my collage using square shapes essentially. And then the washi tape, I added some details of washi tape in various places, including some with some butterfly in it. So they were the 3 prompts from Helen. So that was day 1. And then over here on day 2, I have a page here which is part of the junk journal itself, and it's some writing printed onto like a vellum sheet or tracing paper sheet. So I didn't really want to do too much on top of that. And I was kind of thinking, what shall I do for this? Until I picked out Amazingly, I picked out from Helen's prompts these three. So we've got envelope, stamping, and the colour blue. And for Junk Journal January, the prompt was little moments from Junk Journal January. So using those 4 prompts, I created an envelope, and I put a little bit of collaging on the corner and incorporated some blue bits of paper, so that covers the blue. The envelope obviously covers the envelope, and then I stamped on top of the envelope the word moments, because the prompt from Junk January was little moments. And inside the envelope I have included one, it's an old ledger, French vintage leisure book, and I've torn out the January page, and I've started creating one-liners for each of the day in January, where I'm just going to sort of capture a special moment from that day, and these will be the little moments. So for the 1st of January, I had watching the rain for a few moments after so long. We haven't had rain here for a long time, and it's been raining for a couple of days now. So that was kind of a special moment to start the year. And then on the 2nd, it was just chatting with my husband, having some tea and toast in the garden in the morning and watching the rain around us. So that was quite a nice little moment. So my idea is that every time I sit down to do one of my Junk Journal pages, I will just go back in here and write a little record of a moment from that day. I've got another two to add to that today. And then to kind of fix this on, I've used the back flap of the envelope to tuck over the edge of the page. And then to sort of hold that in place, because the page is quite sort of flimsy. I also created this little paper clip. So this is just a paper, not a regular paper clip, glued, sort of sandwiched between 2 pieces of card. This one was obviously the number 2, like that one over there. So I'm using that to sort of clip that envelope onto the page. Like that. So that was day 1 and day 2 of the challenge. Then yesterday, the prompt from Junk Journal January for the 3rd was torn edges. And then the 3 that I picked out from Helen's prompts were photos, collage, and this was total fluke. I picked out vellum, which I was quite amazed at, because of course I have the vellum kind of page here in my Junk Journal already, so that kind of was already covered. So that was quite a fluke. And then the other 2, as I said, photos and collage, and we've got the torn edges from Junk Journal January. So I dipped into my stash of vintage photos. Let me just pull this off for a second. And I found these lovely 2 lovely vintage photos. So I attached one of them onto the vellum page, and haven't really added anything else there because I thought that was just nice on its own. I put some photo corners on there to hold that in place. And then on this side of the spread, I've incorporated another photo, but I haven't stuck this photo down. I recently created these lovely little collage snippets, if you like, at my college fodder school, and all these papers that are incorporated in here have been created by us. We've used marks and bits of paint and stuff like that to create these bits of lovely fodder papers, and out of those papers we've created these little collage snippets and added some stitching and everything. So I really loved those, so I thought I could use those in my journals. So I've picked 2 of those out that I liked, and I've used them as kind of tuck spots. So I've only stuck half of them down, and then I've used that to kind of tuck the photo in to keep that in place. And then on the back of the photo I have added some journaling. So that's kind of some secret journaling, and so I'm tucking that back underneath those, and that is quite sturdy in place. So it doesn't fall out of the page or anything. So it's quite cool. And then I put the date up there. So that's my first 3 days of the 2 challenges that I'm doing. Just let me stick this back in place. Okay, so today's page. So today for Junk Journal January, the prompt is stickers, and Helen's prompts that I pulled out the jar are these 3: sewing, gold, and animals. So those are the 3 prompts from Helen. So I thought, right, for the stickers, I will look into my antiquarian sticker book, which I absolutely love. I have this one and I have the botanicals one. I would say the only thing about these sticker books, and I think I should probably write them, is that when you use them in your books, the stickiness of the stickers isn't very good, and they do tend to fall out. You do actually have to glue them in. But there's just some beautiful illustrations here, and it's just a great way of just flicking through. What I also tend to do, not all the time, but the stickers in the book come with a sort of fussy cut edge, and sometimes you don't want that. Sometimes it does work. But for this particular project, I wanted to cut them out. So I found these 3 animals, and all of these were kind of unusual representations of animals, which I thought were great to use together. So we've got this bear who's clothed, we've got this sort of fox-looking thing in a frame, is also wearing clothes, and then we've got this other bear over here, or maybe it's a wolf actually. Actually, I think it is a wolf, who's having tea with a lady. So I cut these out from the sticker book, so I'm going to be using those on the page. And I'll just do sort of one side for today. So that's the stickers taken care of, that's the animals taken care of, and the other 2 things were sewing and gold. So I'm definitely going to be incorporating some sewing. So I thought the best way to do that is to maybe build up a collage with some sewing using these other elements that I can just then stick directly onto the page. So I won't actually be working directly on the page much. The only thing I'm going to put onto the page, I thought, was the gold. So I've just recently bought some of these folk art acrylics in the metallic range that they have, and I picked out this antique gold one. It's a multi-surface one, so it's actually really good for mixed media stuff, but great also for my junk jar. So I thought what I'd do is I'd create kind of a background with using this. And I think what I might do is just create a sort of oblong on the page and paint that on, and leave sort of the edge blank or bare. So I'm just going to, where's my other card? I can't find my other, I had a bigger backing card. I'm just going to stick a piece of card just behind there to protect the pages sort of underneath a little bit. And then I've also grabbed some scrap papers. This is a bundle I created, which I'll use to pull out the scraps. I've got a book page, and that's really it for this. So other than having some initial thoughts, I don't really know what I'm going to be producing just now, but let's start with the background. Let's go squeeze some of the acrylic paint. And grab a brush, let's see, yeah, I think I'll just grab, is that too big? No, that's fine. And a little bit of water, and rather than, I tend to use bottles of water now to add water to paint, to activate, rather than dipping into a jar. I just use the jar kind of to wash my brushes. So I'm just adding a little bit of water to this acrylic paint. I do want it to be quite thick, so I don't want to water it down too much. And then I'm just going to paint the background on here. And as I said, I'm going to leave a kind of border. And just Okay, I'll draw onto the page. Like that. I want it to be quite thick, and you probably can't tell on the camera, but that is really nice and shiny and metallic, so that's nice. Okay, so I think that's fine for that. Stick my brush in some water. So I can put this whole thing aside to dry while I work on the actual collage piece that I'm going to create to put on top of this. So before I do that, I'm just going to measure the length, sort of the height and width of this area, because what I want, obviously, when I make the collage to go on here, it's going to, I don't want it to cover the whole, I want a border of the metallic, if you know what I mean. So let me look at this. So if I make it 3 inches wide, that's going to give me a nice border. And then if I make it maybe 6.5 inches, yeah, so 3 by 6.5. And I know how bad I am at remembering things, so I'm just going to write that down. 3 by 6.5 inches. Okay, that's fine. I'm just going to move my journal out of the way for now. Let that dry. And then I am going to create the collage piece. So I loved watching some of the videos on YouTube that Meg shared on her. It's a playlist available to anyone. And by the way, the Junk Journal January challenge is available to anybody who wants to do it. It's all available free on YouTube and on her Meg Journals. It's at Meg Journals on Instagram. You can find the links in there to download the prompts. And she also shared some great videos on there. A few people have shared on different techniques they use for their junk journaling. I think, if I remember rightly, one of them was about sort of creating collages that you just add into your journal. So, and I love the way she talked about how she organises her papers. I think this was one of Meg's journals herself, videos herself. And she talked about how she kind of arranged and organised her papers based on, you know, big pieces of blank pieces that formed the background of the collage, and then music paper and writing paper for the next layer, and then the more focal points and the detailed bits of pieces of paper for the top layers. So basing that, I thought, let me see if this, I think this might be, oh, well, that's perfect. That is exactly almost 3 inches. That's exactly 3 inches. So I'm going to make this my background. So this is just sort of a piece of craft paper. And then we've got 6.5 inches, which I'm going to measure here. And then I'm just going to actually not cut that, I'll just tear it. Okay, so we have our background paper. So I can go off the edges a little bit, but essentially I don't want my collage piece to be much bigger than this, because I don't want to hide too much of that nice gold background that we've added. So I have my sticker pieces, which I want to add, and I think, you know, having these sort of go off the edge a little bit would be nice. And then I might not even use all these 3. I might just keep to 2, but I quite like the idea of using the 3. Maybe 2 of them down here, and then him up there. This is kind of going as 3 focal points. I might just decide to drop this one actually and go for just these 2. but we'll see. Once we start building it up, we'll see. Okay, so let's see what papers we'd like to add into here. I'm thinking I want to have some book page in here. I'm actually quite liking this piece of map as well. I'm wondering, that'd be quite nice. So I'm gonna maybe do some of that. I'm quite liking this music paper as well. Let's see what else we have in here. Got some pattern paper. Got this nice gold. I think I'm going to go with the music, and then and also we have some of the book page, which I also want to. I quite like this sort of, it's a contents page, quite like that. So tear quite a big piece from that. Oh, look at this. How weird is that? This is the contents page from, it's a German book, and it's about nature and botanical type of book, and it goes through the months. It's like a gardening botanical book, and it goes through each of the months from January right through. And on the other side of this, look, we've got January. That's really spooky. Okay, well, we're definitely going to be using that. So okay, let's use that. I think I need to take this bit off here. So let's use that as a second layer. Hope this is all still in camera. Yeah. It's a bit dark today here, so I'm having to have the lights on. I usually normally work with daylight, natural daylight, so we get a better. And normally with building collages, again, starting with one big piece at the back and then building up the separate layers as you go. And it's really just working with the pieces to see how they fit together. And again, overlapping slightly is fine because we've got the space on the page. This one I'll keep within the borders, but this one I'll take out. And this one I might just go up a little bit. And then we've got this fella, who I kind of think I want to have there. And this guy, probably here. How's this about? No. Definitely this one. Maybe. Yeah, I'm kind of liking that, and as a sort of base for the collage, because what we can do is add stuff as well. We can add some stamping, even some marks, whatever we want basically onto that, just to add some interest. The first thing I am going to do before I stick things down, I think I've pretty much got those positions fixed now. So these bits I'm going to stick down now. Before I do that, I'm just going to distress the edges. So I'm going to move that across there. I'm using Distress Ink by Tim Holtz. This is the Walnut Stain, one of my favourite inks. In fact, I think I need to buy the replenishing ink to refill the pad. You don't have to buy, when the pads run dry, rather than having to buy another pad, you can actually just buy the kind of refill inks that you just put onto the pad and let it soak in. So I think I'm due to probably buy one of these because this is getting a little bit dry now because I use it so much. So I'm just wanting to distress the edge a little bit, just darkening the corners and edges like this as well, kind of, you know, frames the piece a little bit as well. We've also got the frame of the gold that we've painted on the page. What I might do is, before I add on the final touches, I will stick the whole thing onto the page because then we get to see how it all works together. So that's the bottom layer, and then now normally when I'm building up collages like this and I've got the layout how I like it, I normally take a photo of it because then you can take it apart and then look at the photo as you're gluing it together. Unfortunately, I'm using my phone to video this. So I can't take a photo. So I want to keep this January so you can see it, and we think we were going to put that up there. Yeah. So in terms of glues, I tend to use this Scotch permanent glue stick. I believe the Yoo-Hoo one is also very good, but other brands I find either the stick wears off after some time, or they are a little bit wet. The cheaper versions are a bit what I call wet. This is a very, very, very dry glue stick, so it does dry quickly, but you don't get any buckling of the papers, which and crinkling of the papers, which I don't particularly like when I'm using a glue stick sometimes. So that, I think I put that there, kind of further up top there. And then we have these two pieces. So this one was down here. Just got some wax paper to the side here, which I'm using to protect my table. Now I did put glue right on the edge, but I'm not going to stick it all down. So I think we have that about there. If you wanted to use a kind of Mod Podge glue, you know, collage glue or something like that, PVA, that's also fine. I don't want to cover that January. But again, the wetter the glue, the more wrinkles you're going to get in your papers potentially. But certainly I like all the glues that dry clear as well. You don't want any glues that are blobbing on your creation. Okay, so that's the background layers down, and now we can stick this guy in. So you've still got the backing on, so I'm going to just remove that. And as I said, these are not great sticky, so I am going to add some more glue onto the back of that with my glue stick, make it a little bit more permanent. This guy's going to go up here. Now I don't want to cover this January, so I'm just going to make sure that that's still showing. He's going to go off a little bit. Over the top like that, and then this little guy was going to go down here, wasn't he? I'm just going to make sure that that is, yeah, that's fine. Yep. So let's take the backing off. And we'll add him. Should I add him here or off? That's off. I'm going to add him there. Actually, no. Yeah. Okay, so that's the sort of base of my collage as such, and I'm just going to see if my back, if this is dry. Not 100%, but I think we're okay. So we're going to put that in there. Yeah, I'm quite liking that. It's quite in your face. So for this, to glue this down, I'm actually going to be using this super thick tacky glue. This is just a little bit more stronger, shall we say, than the Pritt stick, and because this is quite an hour thick piece and it's going on top of paint, which, yeah, I think it's mostly dry. It's just a bit more secure as a paint, as a glue. So, and what I do love this. It's Aleene's. I think it's an American brand. What I do love about this particular glue is it is super thick, as it says, super thick tacky glue, and it dries very quickly. Again, it's not a very wet glue because of the thickness. It's got less water content, so again it prevents that horrible wrinkling of the paper that I hate when collaging. So I'm putting a good layer of that glue on. I broke the top of the glue, so I have a pin which now I've lost. Oh, there it is, which I'm going to stick in the top. To now stick in my collage layer, so getting it sort of in the centre of that painted area. Sticking that down. Yeah, it's not quite dry. Never mind, that's fine. That's fine. Okay. Right, so that is almost finished, but I now just want to add some finishing touches. What am I going to put in here? Let me have a look and see. I'm thinking I might put some stamping in here. And what I'm tending to do this year is there's a lot of stamps that I have in boxes away and I don't really use them because they're sort of hidden away. So I've got this bowl on my desk which every week I will change the contents of the bowl. So I'll put things that I don't tend to use very often. So stamps and maybe washi tapes, just little bits of stash that I tend to forget about and don't use. I'm going to create this as my stash ball for the week, and then that kind of limits me as well. It kind of gives me some focus of what to use, which makes the whole process, being honest, easier. When you have all your stash to choose from, when you're sat down to do a journal page, it can be a little bit overwhelming. So to kind of make those choices a little bit easier, I'm creating this sort of weekly stash ball that I'm going to select from. So I'm not going to even delve into any of my other, sorry, not the camera there. I'm not even going to delve into any of my other stash. I'm just going to use what's in here that I think might work. So I've got these lovely stamps. I used one of these the other day as well. This is quite nice, and we could use some of that stamping sort of going off the page, here and here maybe. There's this big stamp with some writing on it, some script writing, which again we could just use that sort of going off the pages around the edge. That might look nice too. We've got this fleur de lis, which could actually look also very nice. Actually, that would look nice there. I'm going to do that. I'm going to use that fleur de lis there, and then I might use just the edge of this on sort of the edge of here, there. Yeah, I'm going to do that. So I grabbed my Archival Ranger black ink. And let's get this fleur de lis put on first, and make sure my card is under there because otherwise you won't get it. clear imprint. I think this pad is running a little bit dry as well. Right, so let's put that on here. Let's put it around about here. Give that a nice firm press. Yeah, perfect. And then let's take the other one. I'm just going to put ink basically on half of this. And sort of stamp the edge there. There we go. I think that could do with, let's see, do I have it somewhere? Just going to add some across here. Some in the corner here. Okay, so I think that's done. I might add a little bit more in here. Let me have a think. I'm wondering whether I should add a little bit of a quote on here. I think I like this quote here. What makes ordinary is often the extraordinary, because these are a little bit unusual characters here. So that's a little bit long to use as one thing. So I'm just going to split that in half around there, I think. There we go. And add this quote on here. Let's see, maybe there and there. Yeah, or here. Yeah. So add it here. Well, that wasn't very straight in it, was it? Obviously, this is a junk job, doesn't need to be absolutely straight. There we go. So I think I'm happy with that. It's sometimes hard to know when to stop, but I think once you kind of get a feel of the page and you like what you see, then I think that's probably a good time to stop. And the thing is, it's your journal. You can add to this. I may come back tomorrow to do the next page and see that I want to add something to this one. So at that point, you know, I'll go ahead and do that. Obviously, there's one little thing I have forgotten to do, and that's add my date. So I have been using these cards for the last 3 days. So I'm going to use a smaller one. I'm going to cut around this one. So it's a small number. I'm going to distress the edge. So burnish the edge of that, and I'm going to add this somewhere. I quite like it. That's too much in the centre, I think. No. It's either, I think, going to go up here or here. I like it in this corner. Again, it's a case of just trying things until you think it looks good. There's probably people here going, no, put it at the top left. There we go. And that's my Junk Journal January and my Helen's monthly challenge page done for today. So thank you for joining me, and maybe during the month I might come back and do another one of these pages, maybe something that's a little bit more interactive, has a few more elements to it. But for today, I think I'm happy with that. Thanks for joining me, and see you again soon. Bye for now.